Hi, my lovelies. I'm Ogochukwu Obinna, and today we will be talking about failing forward. Failure, the one thing we all dread, but the very thing that every successful person will tell you that they needed. Failure can crush you. Failure can be very painful. But I believe that as long as there is life, there is always a way to crawl our way back out of that situation and make the best out of it. In this video, I will be sharing some actionable steps to help us fail forward, embrace our mistakes, and use them to propel ourselves to success. Whether you're feeling stuck, scared, or simply unsure of the next move, this is a guide to turning setbacks into stepping stones. Let's dive in. I will be dividing this video into three larger parts. Number one, reframing failure. Number two, building resilience. And number three, turning setbacks into stepping stones. And as we progress in the video, I will further break them down. Under reframing failure, I will be starting with accepting failure as part of the process. Now, as Henry Ford put it, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, but this time more intelligently. And as soon as we realize that failure is part of success, the sooner we move away or move on from the failure to attaining success. And now I know this sounds like tough love, but the beautiful thing I have failing, at least from my experience, is like I remember the first time I failed. It felt like the ground will open and swallow me, like I was down for days. But guess what? I went on to fail again, again, and again. And right now, the way I feel is, yeah, I have failed. I feel bad. I've lost some money. I've lost my time, probably lost some friends, but that's absolutely fine. I will make money again. I will not get my time back, but hey, I will learn from what has happened and move on to get some success eventually. Life is a bush of roses. It comes with thorns. And yeah, like I said, it is not tough love, but sooner we accept as part of the process, the easier for us to fail forward. Number two, detach failure from your identity. Failure doesn't define you, it's just feedback. The fact that you failed at this thing doesn't mean you'll fail at it again or you'll fail at something else. It's just what it is, failure. You take back the lessons learned, go back and do it again or do it some other way and just get it done. It doesn't mean you are a failure in life. The sooner you move away from that mindset, oh, I have failed, oh, I'm such a failure, the better you will, or the sooner you will bounce back. Number three, embrace a growth mindset. As Thomas Edison put it, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways it won't work. And this particular one is important to me right now because if you checked out my last or my very first video, I will link it here. I shot the video in portrait format instead of landscape. Rookie mistake. That won't happen again. But I found that if I didn't post that video, I probably would have given up doing YouTube, right? So in my head, I put up that video so that I can come back to say, oh, I have grown from my mistake and I will do it better now. And hey, here I am today. So what failure should teach you is to grow from it, get better, enjoy the learning process, and remain resilient. Number four, learn to laugh at yourself when you fail. I know this one sounds comical, but stick with me on this one. I find that humor makes failure less daunting and more manageable, especially at a time when that situation happens. So laughing at yourself does a couple of things. First off, laughter helps relieve stress, crazy as it sounds, even in such a situation. Number two, I would say that it helps you, laughing helps you acknowledge the mistake for what it is. It's feedback, right? That you were not ready for, that situation you failed at. And somehow it helps reframe the mind to better deal with the situation. Now you might ask, how can one learn to laugh at themselves when they make mistakes? And I'll say that you should first practice awareness, recognize the situation for what it is, and then prepare the mind for the event, for when, failure happens. you don't expect to win all the time. So you have to keep an open mind and be ready to deal with the situation as it comes. I'd also recommend that we forgive ourselves when we make mistakes and it results to failure. No one is above mistakes, right? So as far as we're alive and we're thankful to be alive, we always have an opportunity to, you know, correct those mistakes. And number three, I would say is take the feedbacks from whatever has happened and then, you know, go back to amend the situation. Good luck winning out there, guys. Number five, we need to recognize the hidden lessons in every failure. Now, I find that failure um, chips at our ego and pride, and we slowly start to lose the sense of wanting to appear successful all the time. Now, not only that, I find that failure teaches patience, wisdom, and compassion, not just to ourselves, but to others. And I'll use my experience as an example. Now, when I was a lot younger, I used to be very judgmental because obviously I hadn't failed that much in life. Now, I would look at people who, for instance, had kids much earlier before, settling down, and I'd frown at their mistakes. I'd look at people who did not have jobs when I found a job as failures. I also looked at people who were struggling one way or the other while things were, looking up for me. And now, knowing what I know now, I realized that I was just proud and saw myself as better than everyone else. Now, having failed at so many things, both financially, in relationships, lost, money, lost time, failed exams. That I don't even get me started on those ones. Um, I now I'm a lot more humble. Like failure has humbled me, and I'm a whole lot more understanding. So, and this, rubs off on everything we do going forward. We're more understanding, and I'm more willing to help others when they fail and not beat them down. So, failure is actually a good thing. So let's fail forward. Okay, we are now done with the reframing failure portion of this talk, and we'll now be moving to the building resilience bit. And so we will be starting with number 6, which is celebrating every small win. And if you saw my last video or my very first video on YouTube, where I spoke about celebrating progress over perfection, you will be able to relate with this one. And I find that celebrating small wins not only helps us maintain motivation, it also fosters positivity and helps build resilience. So it makes us appreciate consistency. It also helps us to grow attain a growth mindset. And most importantly, it teaches self-compassion. So you're being patient with yourself, going through the pain, failing forward, and appreciating every bit of the steps along the way. Celebrating small wins makes you appreciate the entire journey and not just the end product as the success. And sometimes even when we don't attain the success itself, we're able to gather all our wins, take the feedback, and then go on to push a little more and attain that success. That is the power of celebrating small wins. Number 7, seek feedback and not validation. I have found that constructive criticism actually fuels growth and are really worth their weight in gold, whether you are a business owner, an employee, or doing any form of activity. Be ready to take feedback. Now, if you are looking at getting validation, when you get negative review, it actually stings. But when you are on the lookout for feedback to take to improve yourselves, you wouldn't really mind if it's good, bad, or somewhere in between. Now, I'd like to add that you should take every feedback with a pinch of salt, in the sense that you can't please everyone, right? But the thing you should look out for are commonalities in the complaints or reviews that you get. Look for themes, so if more than one person or several people complain about a particular thing, then you should go in to amend that particular situation. But if they're just a couple of outliers, then there might not necessarily be the need to make any significant change. So I like to tell people that to help them, you know, prepare the mind for feedback, as opposed to asking questions like, so what do you think? What do you think about this particular service? Okay, to put it in context, say you provided some form of training to a group of people. You could ask questions like, um, what did you expect from this particular service that you did not see? Um, Number two, you could also ask, what would you like to see more of? And the most important one, which parts of this particular service or training were unclear to you? Now, people will give you all sorts, good, the bad, the ugly, and it's your job to take all of this and, you know, go back and then improve on, you know, the particular service that you provided. So failing at something, it's not a bad thing, right? So, and the beautiful part about, you know, failing is you get the opportunity to get feedback to improve. So yeah, constantly take away those feedback. Never look for validation, because if that's what you're looking for, you're going to get heartbroken and may never go on to improve. Number 8, create a failure journal. Now, I find this one kind of funny because in my last video, I had said create a win journal to, you know, track your small wins. And this time I'm saying create a failure journal. But what this helps us do is it helps us, you know, identify those failures. Well, now, you know, processing them and seeing them in words. So we identify the failure, we analyze it critically, we take responsibility for our actions, and then we create a plan, then take the lessons learned and apply them so that we are less likely to make the same mistakes again. So create that failure journal and, you know, use it to propel yourself to success. Number 9, surround yourself with resilient people. Now, Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most of your time with. And I strongly agree with him. Now, what surrounding yourself with resilient people does is it encourages you, especially through those trying times. And then it reminds you that failure is a shared experience. You are not the only one going through um, some type of failure, and it will pass. And the good thing about resilient people is they will always cheer you on, and you're likely to see people who have gone through that stage you are currently passing through. Um, for some people, you can find this resilient group in a mentorship program or, say, in a professional network. And for some others, it's just one or two good friends in their lives that are working on one thing or the other and are trying to get better themselves. So surround yourself with resilient people. It will help you go farther in your journey to failing forward. Number 10, take calculated risks. I know you're wondering how taking risks helps you build resilience, and I will get there. Now, first off, Elon Musk said, if you're not failing, it probably means you are not trying hard enough. And I want to agree with him. Now, what taking calculated risks does is it builds your self confidence. It helps you to demystify those challenges that helped you fail or made you fail quicker. And then you are able to rebound and fail forward faster and ultimately get to your desired goal. So, and worst case scenario, as opposed to someone who never tried, you have the knowledge to be able to get better. So go out there, take those risks, and good luck. Okay, we are now done with the building resilience portion of this conversation, and I'm moving into the turning setbacks into stepping stones bit. And we will be starting with number 11, which is redefining success. And I strongly believe, especially in today's world, that we move away from measuring success in terms of wealth and status alone to metrics like personal fulfillment. Now, if you are doing something with the mind that I am doing this to fulfill a purpose, I am doing this because I want to attain happiness as well as money, of course. I'm not saying money or status is a bad thing, but making that your only metrics is a problem. When you have a purpose, you're more likely to continue to pursue your goals until you arrive at your expected end. Now, what this mind shift does is it allows one to take more risks, it fosters creativity, and then it helps you strive for excellence in the activity that you're doing. Now, if you look at a lot of these unicorns, you'd see that a lot of them started with sleeping on garage floors and going through really tough times, and because they were doing it because they loved what they were doing, not just because they wanted the money out of it. They eventually became, success stories that we all now refer to. Number 12, find inspiration from other failure stories. And there are many of them out there. A couple of them include J.K. Rowling's. Her Harry Potter story was rejected by not one, not two, not three, but 12 publishing houses before it was accepted. There was the Beatles, who Decca Recording Studio rejected because they didn't like their sound. There was Walt Disney, who was fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination. There was Oprah Winfrey, who was demoted at her job because they didn't think she was TV worthy. And there are thousands and thousands of stories out there just like this to encourage us not to give up. Because what if I ask myself, what if I trudge on and end up amongst the 1%? What if I continue to, do what I need to do till I get to that point? And then what if I stop and then become the failure that I think that I am, right? So you just have to keep going. God has given us life. God has given us a purpose. So we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our families, our communities, to our generation to ensure that we leave our footprint on the sands of time. Take those stories and let them encourage you to be who you want to become. And again, if you look at those people, you realize that failure is a part of life. Failure is normal. They did not have their successes without their failures. So yeah, let's keep winning together, shall we? Number 13, pivot, don't quit. Now, pivoting isn't quitting. When we fail, it's often a sign that something isn't right, something isn't working well. So it's time to try a new approach or try something completely new. Now, the sooner we pivot, the sooner we're able to fail forward. How do we know when to pivot? You have to watch for signs like stagnant growth, diminishing returns, lack of interest of your customers, or even lack of interest or fun in what you're doing. Again, I repeat, the sooner we pivot, the sooner we fail forward. Trying the same thing over and over again when it's not working is like hitting your head on the wall. Move and move fast. That is how to attain success. Number 14, visualize telling your comeback story. Imagine sharing your story of resilience. I mean, if we're all going to fail at something at some point in our lives, doesn't it make sense that we should make room for failure? And one thing I know that visualizing your comeback story does is it makes you want to get out of, that valley you're in, that dark part you're in, and quickly spring forward towards success so that you're able to, come back and say, I made this mistake and this is where I'm at. Imagine yourself speaking to a younger audience. Imagine yourself sharing your success stories with your friends, with your mentors, and even with a strange crowd. You could be an inspiration to somebody out there. So think of that, especially when you're in dark times. And I hope it helps you spring out of that dark place. Number 15, pay it forward. This one is kind of connected to the last point, visualizing your comeback story. So I feel that if you've been schooled by failure, why not inspire and guide others through failing? Now, your story might be just that one story that might inspire the next person, prevent the next person from committing suicide, prevent someone from remaining beaten down and forlorn. Why not to share your story? Let them know that it's possible to attain whatever heights they desire, no matter how low. Failure is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter. It is where growth happens, where resilience is born, and where our future selves are waiting for us. These 15 steps are guides to failing forward and rewriting your story. Let me know which one of them resonates with you in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you want other videos on overcoming fear or building confidence through adversity, please let me know in the comments as well. I would also like if you can share your biggest lessons from failure in the comments so that we can all benefit from your story. As John Maxwell said, fail early, fail often, but always, always fail forward. God bless.